Joining us now from the Cologne Institute for Economic Research is Holger Schäfer. Mr. Schäfer, first of all, is this going to be a job destroyer or could it be seen as a stimulus measure?
Well, I don't subscribe to the idea that the minimum wage could be a boom for the economy because this additional money the employees get has to be paid for either by the employers, who have less money for consumption for themselves or for less money for investment, or by the consumers who have to pay higher prices.
So not a boom, but could it be a boost in any sort of way? I mean, it would mean pumping more money into the economy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if you refer to the monetary system, then it could be the case. But I think introducing minimum wage is certainly the wrong way to manage the financial issues here at hand. I think that is a matter that should be addressed by the ECB.
And when you're talking job losses, how many job losses here in Germany? We're talking about a big economy.
Yeah, there are several different estimates about the job losses that reach from zero, no negative impact, up to almost 1 million job losses. But of course, we have to consider that the minimum wage is only one factor in labour market development for the next year. We hope that the labour market runs pretty well in the next year. So all these factors could maybe compensate the negative impact of the minimum wage.
And why so many job losses? I mean, is that simply the way that some companies are going to have to take? Is that going to be their direct reaction to the minimum wage?
Well, jobs have to be economical. If, for example, the taxi driver doesn't have enough turnover to pay for his own minimum wage, in addition to the other costs like gasoline or insurance payments, then his workplace is uneconomical and certainly in danger of being laid off.
But what about the low-paid workers? It's a growing army, as we mentioned here in Germany, of low-paid workers. Doesn't the government have to do something? I mean, state intervention isn't always the answer, but surely these workers have to be protected in some way.
If you want to earn higher wages, then you have to earn more value added from your work, and so you have to have higher qualifications to earn more money. That is the key to higher wages.
So what are you saying, that low-skilled workers basically are set to stay there? They have to do something to get somewhere?
Well, if low-skilled workers earn low wages, then they have to acquire more skills so they can earn higher wages.
OK, we're going to get back to more on this and the effects of the minimum wage in a moment. First, let's have a look at how the minimum wage has gone down elsewhere in the world, or in many cases gone up. That's what's being debated right now in Brazil and the United States, raising the minimum wage. It's just been done in Poland. It first introduced the regulation over a decade ago, though. A good opportunity for neighbouring Germany to take heed of some of the pitfalls. Many Polish companies have come up with ways of evading the system.
For Barbara Odeniec, supporting her family is a challenge. She works as a cashier, but doesn't even earn minimum wage.
I work full-time in a supermarket and earn only 1,200 zloty or 400 euros a month. I work for a subcontractor and they treat us like trash, not like people.
Odeniec isn't a regular employee. She has what's called a work contract. A work contract means that a person is being paid to create a specific product, for example, an advertising brochure. They're paid for the product, not an hourly wage. But there are some legal loopholes. Supermarkets, for example, use subcontractors. Instead of paying an hourly wage, the subcontractors hire cashiers using work contracts. So the cashiers are classified as self-employed and don't get minimum wage, health insurance or pension coverage. Many security staff and cleaning personnel are hired under work contracts. And large supermarket chains also tend to exploit this legal loophole. The staff have no job protection and rarely earn more than 400 euros a month. Unions have long been fighting to change this practice. But here in Poland, it's still common in companies such as Lidl.
The retail industry has a lot of these work contracts. About 40% of retail employees have work contracts. Normally, they're not employed by the stores themselves. They're outsourced or hired through outside firms.
The labor market in Poland has about 16 million workers. Almost a third are in what's called the grey market, with short-term contracts and poor labor conditions. 1.6 million have only a work contract, and their numbers are on the rise. The Polish Employers Federation says the minimum wage is to blame. But the minimum wage in Poland is less than €2.50 per hour.
Our experience has shown that when the minimum wage is more than 40% of the average wage in the region, then companies start to dismiss poorly qualified workers. Then they rehire them through different mechanisms, including the grey market, for example.
The grey market in Poland is on the rise, and so are work contracts that pay less than minimum wage. After the boom a few years ago, the Polish economy has now stabilized. In 2014, the gross domestic product increased by 3.3%. But unemployment in Poland is over 11%. That's part of why people like Barbara Odeniec are forced to take poorly paid work contracts.
I have no choice. I have to take a work contract, and companies take advantage of people like me.
She barely earns enough to support her family.
I can't pay all my bills. I need to buy food for my children.
For people like Barbara Odeniec, the minimum wage would be a major improvement.
Mr. Schäfer, is that all a result of the minimum wage in Poland?
No, I don't think so, because I think this is a major result of the legal framework of the labor market in Poland. After all, there are many European countries who have a minimum wage, and not all these countries have these kind of problems.
Exactly. The minimum wage is nothing new here in Europe. It just varies radically. Bulgaria, for example, if we take a look at the hard figures, it's only the equivalent of just over €1. Well off Luxembourg, on the other hand, offers a generous €11.10. A look at France is surprising, considering Germany's offering less and is in a much better financial position. But I suppose you have to compare it to the average wage then, don't you?
Exactly. That is the important factor, the minimum wage in relation to the average wage.
And then it's quite high in Germany, is it?
And in this respect, Germany is quite high on the list, together with France. And France is a country who has some problems with the minimum wage, other than, for example, the United Kingdom.
Well, what are the problems in France?
In France, we have a very high youth unemployment, and we have even state subsidies for young employed who have to be paid the minimum wage, but the firms are not able to pay this, and so there are government subsidies. And this is not a quite good idea to pay government subsidies for a wage that is imposed by the government itself.
OK, we'll get to youth unemployment in a second. With the UK, they introduced the minimum wage back in 1999. They painted all sorts of horror scenarios, but they didn't come true, did they?
No, the United Kingdom was much more clever in introducing the minimum wage.
What did it do right?
They had a low level of the minimum wage in the first phase, and they installed a committee of economists who monitored all the effects of the minimum wage and who set the level of the minimum wage in the following years. And this is much more cleverly than doing this by politicians.
OK, well, let's see if Germany can learn from its neighbours' mistakes and also the good things its neighbours have introduced. Mr. Schäfer, good to have you on the show.